my contention is this, is go ahead and solve this center, the opposite center, because these are the only two centers that are going to have consistency, and those are the only edges that are. But I think what I'm going to do is try to get all the centers in first. So after having done this, I'm going to now head for this guy over here. And it looked like there's a bunch that was already in. Well, we've got this and this. This might belong with these guys, but I'm not so sure about this. So let's see if there's another one that can fit with this over here, and that shouldn't be too hard to find because they tend to be large. These fit together too, and my thinking is that these probably belong up there as well. So this could be a contender over here. Let's go ahead and turn this in place. So again, the issue here are not algorithms. We know all the algorithms to solve this. That's not the difficult part. The issue here is in finding things. See, this fits a lot better. So I'm going to take this out over here. And there that is. So I've got all these in a row. So now what I'm going to want to do is find another piece here. It's going to be a large piece. It's going to be a large piece somewhere in the center. On a hunch, I'm going to move this up, move this up. How about this? Doesn't look to be the right size, doesn't look to be the right shape, but is its destiny congruent? Yeah. Didn't seem like it was the right size, didn't seem like it was the right shape, but who would have guessed that that's actually where it's supposed to be? So this is correct, so I'm going to move this up. So which direction does this go? And I'll also point out that this one seems to find a place with it too. So I want to coordinate it with this center. So if I move this in here, does it actually go with the center? Let's move this over here. So we'll bring it up, and you can see it does. So this is the proper place. That's the proper place. To bring this back, I'm just going to move this 1, 2. Could move it with one finger, obviously, and then move it back down. Okay. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to start putting things in here on this side. Now I already know that this correlates with over here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this to the side here. Okay, maybe this guy. I got high hopes on it. And, well, what do we think? Yes? Yeah? Well, sort of. That's the best one we got so far. So what I'm going to do is move that into here as I'm slowly assembling this. Now, if it were like this the whole time, aside from taking just a little bit of effort and having a little bit of a challenge with perspective, it really wouldn't be particularly difficult. But this isn't the hard part. This is the assembly part. This doesn't fit, so we take it back. Okay, so we keep going. So I'm going to pick it up from here, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking to continue to make these over here. I've got 2, 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. Actually, I need this one left, so I'm looking for the one that goes over here. There's always the possibility that it might be this piece. This piece might belong over here. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, because I don't see anything here that fits the bill, but there is a distinct possibility it's this. So what am I going to do to try to move this to here? Well, I'm going to make use of my last 2 center algorithm by moving this to here, this to here, and this to here. It's just a question of how I turn it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this will be my R, this will be my L on this side, and I just have to remember to turn it to a U. So if I go like this, make this my R, then do a U, LI, UI, RI, UI, and whichever gets this one back in, so that would be a L. There we go. Okay, so What was the end result of that mess? Well, it put it in. So there it is over there. So that's how you can shuttle things around by doing a 3 cycle. And I'm going to be doing that from time to time just to kind of take a shortcut. So should I find something in here that belongs here, I can move pieces anywhere here to anywhere where they need to go over here as long as they're in the right relative position. Now we're going to take this and move it into here. So turn, turn, turn. And again, what's saving this is the smoothness of the movement. Yeah, there's a lot of positioning or a little bit of positioning that has to happen just because of the complexity of the puzzle. And sometimes pieces snag a little bit. But once you position it, it moves very easily. Turn, and so far we have been pop free. Don't expect it to stay that way. Sometimes a piece pops out in puzzles like this. Sometimes a glued extension comes out and I have to re-glue it back in. But if you're going to collect puzzles like this, you have to expect that that's going to happen. Lined up, there we go. Clicks right into place. Turn. So as you can see, this one does fit nicely. So now I'm just going to keep building on that. Is there anything here? Does this fit over here? I think probably yes. So turn. Turn, 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 and just simply turn this back. And once again, as said, this is not the hard part. This is the easy part. This is just typical large cube center solving. No worries. And turn, okay? Okay, these two over here, how lucky would that be? Yeah, turn. Turn. Okay, now I'm going to take all those that I put in. Put them down here, turn. Turn, moving it back and remembering that it was these two that I brought in, so I got to bring them back, turn, and just those two, turn, and finally turn. Okay, so I have much of these. I just have to do this one, and since it's the easiest to visualize, we'll take a look. It's got to be a long trapezoidal thing, maybe something like these. So let's turn this around and see what happens. 1, 2. Now will this move to here? And the answer is yes. Turn. Turn, 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 and this comes back up, across, and keeping this lined up. Like I say, this puzzle loves to turn, and there it is. Okay, so we're getting it. We're over here. Now I just have to fill in these 2 layers over here. Again, I'd like to think that this one fits, but I can see clearly that it doesn't. It's interesting that it doesn't fit. So interesting that I almost wonder if this belongs up here somewhere. If this is something that actually belongs where one of these guys were supposed to be. That can happen with this puzzle where you might find yourself with 2 pieces that actually sort of kind of fit. And I'm just wondering if this is one of those pieces. It's just off to the center. Will this find a home up here somewhere? I'm just going to run that experiment here. 1. See, there's this piece here too. 1, Now, I've done this before with ghost puzzles where I've gone very far, almost to the end, only to find that 2 pieces are wrong, and it messes up the entire puzzle too. So no, this one actually doesn't belong here, but I found something else that is a contender, which is this piece. Okay, well, I'm gonna file that in my interesting observation file. I have to make sure everything is lined up. I have so few guideposts to tell me where things are at, so I just have to really remember it. If ever there was any exercises for ADD, it's this, only because you really have to hyper-focus on what you're doing. And if you're so motivated to do so, you will. ADD is not a problem of not being able to focus. It's a problem of finding what you really want to focus on. Once you do, there's no stopping you. Anyway, let's see what that did. So remember, this was what we put in. These 2 fit nicely. So this piece to here. So we turn. So I got to remember to move it out from this side here. Turn. 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 I can't even imagine the amount of time it took to build something like this. I would have no idea. Turn and turn. Okay, so now we're talking. So now I've got these. I just got to get this, 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 and this. So we're continuing our journey here, trying to find little places over here, and I'm wondering if maybe something on top here might help. This one appears to maybe find a home over here, so we turn it in, we like it, and we turn it out, move it down, bring this up, move this back in, and turn it and bring it up, and we find that we are that much closer to our goals. However, it would appear that we only have one left, but I'm still very skeptical about this guy over here, so I'm kind of keeping that in the back of my mind here. So now we're going to find this piece over here. See if maybe we get lucky. Maybe it's this over here. Maybe this guy. This is a contender, and yeah, so that's good. So I'm going to move this into here. Now I'm going to move these 2 on block into here. And that should be fairly easily done. Shift this to the side, take these 2, and now I've got to go splat. Remembering that I moved in with these layers, so now I've got to move it out, move this layer out. So simply turn this down, and now move. Whoop. This down. Okay, now remembering what I did, carefully move these back. Make sure it's all lined up. Sometimes you gotta jiggle it just a little bit to let things fall into place. Now remembering it was these 2 layers that were brought up, and that's what I'm gonna bring up now. I can see this isn't quite lined up. There we go, I think. Bang, splat. And now we turn this like so and move this part in. Okay. So what we have is we have this center and this center done. Now, if that's all I had to do, and I had to do it exactly the same way with all the other centers and they were all lined up, it still would be a challenge. That would still be a worthy challenge to do. However, things are about to get a lot more complicated even than this, because like I say, this was the hard part. or the easy part rather. Now these all fit in pretty nicely. I'm seeing one kind of stands out a little bit here. I'm still wondering about this, and I don't recall there being anything quite so off, but it does seem to fit, so I'm going to say that these centers are done. Now the question becomes this: where do I go from here? I could fairly easily place the edges that belong up here in. That wouldn't be a problem. But is that really going to be helpful to me? What I actually want to do is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore the edges, because once I get centers in, edges won't be a problem. Well, at least the edges that go to this layer and this layer. These edges, I'm going to have to do in kind of a layer by layer approach. That's how I did the 5x5 version. So what I'm going to do at this point is, for getting the edges, is I'm going to go ahead and put in centers. Now, how do I put in centers when they're not going to line up? So in other words, all these are center pieces, but I don't know if this layer matches with this layer. I just don't know. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do what's called surrogate centers. I know that I can match up pieces along each plane. So I can match up these pieces, these pieces, these pieces, but I can't match it up along these planes. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to assemble center components and then see if I can put them in the right layer. So in other words, if I put in a center component that's this, I do a 1 by 5 bar, I have it here. I don't know where it's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be here, close to this center? Is it supposed to be up here? So there's two broad places it can be, down here or up here. And then from there, if it's down here, where down here? That part isn't so difficult, except for the fact that at that point I'm going to need my edges to to tell me. So this can either be here somewhere or up here somewhere. This set can either be here somewhere or here somewhere. So there's only one layer that has only one place to be, and that's this. The only problem is which one of these goes there. Does this belong here? Does this belong here? Does this belong here or here? We don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my center layer over here, because that's going to be the easiest to do. I don't even know rotation. You can see this is rotated here. I don't know if this is rotated correct. This is a center piece. So I do have a little bit of advantage with the odd layer versions, but I don't know if it's supposed to face this orientation or this orientation. The only way to know is if I can find definitive pieces that can kind of come in across. So that's going to be my challenge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find a center that's way out there, because I can more easily find pieces that match up to it. Like here's one that's way out here. This is kind of sunk in. So I'm going to start finding pieces that match up with this. This is of the right size, but it's not of the right orientation. So what I'm going to do is simply move this over here. Now, even if I find it along a line, actually it's this guy, even if I find it along a line, I don't know if it's going to be right side up or upside down. That's where the challenge of this puzzle is going to come from. So let's see. I'm going to try to find something that matches up to here. So something along these layers. Again, it could be this piece. So I'm just going to take this out, and I'm going to double turn, and I'm going to put this back in like so. Okay, as you can see, this doesn't match up, but that doesn't mean that this was correctly oriented 180 degrees from where it had to be. So I'll go like this and do the same thing. Okay, so it's pretty easy to see that that doesn't work. So I'm just going to keep tooling it around and see if this piece ever finds a point at which it matches up well. Because at the very least, I know that that the center pieces up top won't work. I've got one more to do. Turn and turn. Aha! So that's good. Now I'll tell you, with these ghost puzzles, what might make perfect sense and seem perfectly fine might not be the right one. But for now, what this tells me is that these two match up, so this is going to be facing like this. But I don't know if it's this way or this way. So at least I know within 180 degrees of where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to continue to place central areas. Here's this is pretty big over here, so I'll move this into here. Nope. So it's certainly not that. How about this guy over here? So at this point, things are going to move a little faster. Move this in like so. And now this will come into here, and nope. So that ain't it. So not these two. So now I can comfortably move on to another side. I got a sneaking suspicion it's this because it has two, it's angled over here, and I believe this was angled too. Yeah, so this has got to be it. Got to be it, and yes. Okay, so there it is over there. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the ends here. Could this one come in? Well, it's certainly big enough, so let's give it a try. Turn it. Turn it. Look at this beast move. And turn. So nope. Big enough, but not quite. How about this guy? This kind of fell into place, and aha! All right, so we're making some progress here. Now we got to do this one. Possibly this. I doubt it, but it's worth a try. Move it out. Take this here. Move it back. And yeah, it was worth a try. So basically what I see is I have this all in. So I know that this is in the center, and it's either going to be like this, or it's going to be like this. Which one is it? Well, I mean, I've got to take it all the way across here. Or like this. Which one is it? I don't know. We're not going to know that until we start correlating this with other pieces. But right now, I'm just going to assemble these bars over here. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to put in surrogate centers. So I've got this line over here. I want to get another line in another layer. It doesn't matter if it actually belongs next to this. None of them really are going to belong right next to it. Well, some of them, yeah, some of them will be close. But I'm going to do another line. It doesn't matter if it's down here or if it's supposed to be along here. I'm just going to try to get them one by one by one. Then I'm going to start sorting them later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start matching things that seem to work. For instance, these two seem to like being next to each other. Now, by no means that means they're supposed to be, but it's a good start. And then I start doing post-processing, so to speak. So I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm just going to go through the process of finding others. Now, the advantage of this is that they're up, so I can look for ones that are kind of jutted up a little bit. Will this go in? So let's give it a try. Plop, and yeah, I like it. So that's good over here. So we're okay. Now we're going to find other pieces that will also come into here. Just make sure over here there isn't anything that might be useful. Nothing much that I could see. All right, since we got lucky with this side, maybe there's another one. Maybe this guy here, perhaps. 1, 2, and I don't think so because it's sloping upwards, and these are all sloping downwards. But just to be sure, yeah, so that wasn't going to work. All right, so we keep going with this. And I'm just going to keep finding layers until I place them bit by bit. And although it seems cumbersome, it's actually quite fun because when you finally get it, when you finally find a piece that makes sense and you're that much closer to your goal, maybe this one, it's quite exciting. So even without trying the right piece, I put this one in, and this one is where we need to have it. So now just this side. Continuing on, we've got these here. I'm looking for the one that slides into here, and this guy here is a contender, so we're going to move this to the side, and now just slide it in. Kersplat. So that's good. So what we have now is we have another layer of what will be our first center, which is this. So I'm going to take this over here, and I'm going to merge this piece with this over here. Again, it doesn't matter to me that it belongs next to it, or even that it belongs around it or near it, but it does help define areas that are already in. So what I'm doing is I'm just composing center by center in this fashion. So I move this over here. Now, as you can see, it actually lines up pretty well. So I may have accidentally put two pieces that can go in with each other. Now, because this has to be solved off center, maybe this is how it goes. Maybe this is actually where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna just plop that over there, and I'm going to do the same process but with the other steps. Now, seeing that there's a direction that these seem to be going, I have a vague idea of the direction that that these can take. So taking a look at this, I know that this is not going to belong in this layer here. If anything, maybe it belongs in a layer down here. But I'm going to look and see what else is here that can be down here or up here or over here. So I'm going to do ones that are fairly easy to find. And I've got this guy over here and this over here. So these define a top and a bottom. So I'm going to find others that can sort of latch onto that, and that will kind of be the next layer of this center that that I'm going to be looking at. So putting it along over here, are there any large last layers? Like what about these guys? Or this that I've been wondering about? Right, Noah?
Right.
Turn this around here, here, and here. And let's see what happens if I just plop this down into here. Splat. And it looks, so I finally found its home, right over here. So that's where that's supposed to be. Now I just need to find others that will similarly find a home next to this guy. Oh, how about this? Well, it would have to be here if anything, so it's not that. But let's see if there's something else. How about this guy? Will this find a home next to this? Now this is both of these are possibilities here that might fit with this. So I'm going to take this out of the way so it doesn't get destroyed. And let's move this guy out and see what happens. 1, 2. Move this to the side. And bring this in. See if that works. Turn, and it does. So we have yet another one in here. Now let's move this one back by turning this to the side and bring it back. Always being alert to things that seem to fit. In any case, I need 2 more. 2 more that can match in at the ends here. So let's take this back over here and see if any of these might fit. This one is a potential, so I'm just going to sort of put that in as a place card. Turning to another layer, I'm looking at this one here, maybe this. So let's turn it into place. Make sure we're lined up here. And now I'm going to take this piece and see if it finds a home here, and it does. So now I've got just one more to go, something on the end here. Since I got lucky in this layer, maybe I can get lucky again. And it's going to be something that's really set back. Kind of like this guy. Maybe this has a role. So I'm going to turn this here. And let's find our way to the very end here. And yeah, it seems to fit. So because of that, I now have another surrogate 1x6 bar, rather 1x5 bar. Move this around in the best way it knows how. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and add this to my collection. But in reality, because it's at the end, I'm going to move it up here, knowing full well that this is unlikely to be how it's supposed to go, but it's good enough for now. 1, 2. You can see that it's very unlikely that this even belongs anywhere near this, but that's okay. I'm just assembling it. It'll become more and more clear where this one is supposed to go later. But right now, I'm going to keep this here, and I'm going to find 2 that, one that comes into this area and the one that comes into this area, even if it's not the specific one. So right now I'm still assembling centers, and as you can see, it's not too much more difficult than assembling these, except that I'm not really correlating the whole thing with each other, just the bars over here. And turn. What do we think? Pretty good. So all looks pretty good with that, and bang. So we have another one to choose from. So that's going to be my basic technique. The assembling of where they're supposed to go, that's going to come later, and that's going to take a different kind of technique. So let's go ahead and put this in, and this is now at a side. And again, I realize that they don't go with each other, but that's okay, because now I need one more layer of a center. Notice all these trapezoidal shapes are sort of pointed up. Well, so too is this. This is pointed up. Okay, so put this in, and pow, we found a home. And move it in. Now we'll just take this out of the way and move the layer that we moved out back in, like so. Okay, so we're getting there. We need one more to be over here. And so center number 3 will be done. But again, this is fairly simple compared to some other things we're going to have to do. Now how about this? This sort of has a funky shape to it. Nope. Okay, too large. So this one I have to do a little bit of searching. This one, nope, it's going to be facing the wrong way. So something that faces the correct way. How about this over here? Possibly, but I doubt it. Let's give it a try. Yeah, it's too high. Maybe this. Hiding in there. Yeah, we like it. So now we turn this here. Turn and move it in. Pow. Okay, so we got it. So this is another center. It's disorganized, but there it is. So now that we've got that, we move on to yet another. So I'll go ahead and do this one. And judging by the polarity of where these are, I think it's supposed to be facing up like that. So I'm going to turn it to the side, and I literally just have to play around with it and see which one is going to match up with this. Alright, so we're filling in the gaps with these, and I'm looking for another one that's right in the center there. Obviously this is spoken for. I got this guy over here. We'll see if this one works. 1, 2, and this comes in here pretty nicely. So I'm going to say for now arbitrarily that that's probably the one. So bump this out of the way and move this down. Back again. 1, 2. To bring this back to our pseudo center. So now I need to find one that goes over here, which is going to be something that's a little bit more raised than the rest. Over here, let's see if this one is the one. That's turn, and we like it. So turn and turn. Well, actually, this one, turn. There we go. Okay, so now we have this. This is on the straightaway over here. So now we've got this filled in. And I'm going to try to do the same thing here. And again, it doesn't matter to me if it actually belongs close to this or not. That we work out later. Right now, it's just a matter of seeing what's going to fit. Turn and turn. Move it in, and we are good. Oh, thought something might have popped. So that's good. So now I'm going to take this out of here. Move this back here. And now I've got the last of my surrogate centerpieces here. So one, two, we move this out of the way. Bring it up. 1, 2, bring it back, and bring it in. Okay, so that wasn't too bad, actually. What I have then is this surrogate center is in, this surrogate center is in. These two belong with each other. Maybe I can start putting others in that seem to belong to each other. Nah, not right now. But now I am down to the last two centers.